What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And this one I wanted to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to talk about why tomorrow is going to be a very important day as we have big earnings coming out for Tesla and many others, and also how Netflix is affecting the market right now. I'll break down what the news is saying about Tesla and how things are looking going into earnings. But before I break anything down, all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. Firstly, I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo and deposit $100 into the account, you are guaranteed up to 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed up to 15 free stocks, and the offer ends very soon. Anyways, now let's break down what's going on with Tesla. So, I also want to apologize, guys. I might cough a little bit in the video. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, but I'll do my best to heal up as fast as I possibly can. But for now, I just want to mention that Tesla is trying to base around this 207 to 208 area. And we're starting to see some buyers attempting to defend those zones. But the real move that's going to affect this is going to come after its earnings. So we're going to be paying attention to some very important things. Now, let's talk about the market first before I break down Tesla and these other tickers. For the market, as a reminder, tomorrow is going to be Wednesday, January 24th. And at 9:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or 15 minutes after the market opens, we have the S&P Global Composite PMI, we have the Manufacturing PMI and Services PMI all coming out. So make sure you watch those very, very carefully. This could cause some volatility 15 minutes after market open. So I'll be watching for that very, very carefully. Besides that, there's not really a whole lot else coming out. I do want to note, though, that on Thursday, we have some GDP numbers coming out and initial jobless claims. And for Friday, we have PCE inflationary data coming out. So we're going to expect some high volatility for Thursday and Friday. And also the market's going to react to Tesla's earnings, even going into Thursday, right? Because Tesla announces its earnings on Wednesday, which is tomorrow after market close. We'll be paying very close attention to what's actually said. For today, after the market closed, we had Netflix's earnings, and this was actually kind of bullish for the markets. This has helped the QQQ and other tickers push quite nicely. For Wednesday, we have AT&T before market open. We have Progressive and just a couple of others. And then after market close, we have Tesla and IBM. So make sure you watch those very carefully. Tesla is going to be the most important piece of earnings in the entire market. So make sure you're prepared for that. Make sure you're ready to watch the big move that's coming. The market's fear and greed index is currently very close to extreme greed. This is when you need to be very careful. We're not quite there yet, but if the market does push tomorrow, we might get there. So that's when you want to be a little bit careful, but it's not really going to, it's not guaranteed to stop the market immediately. When we hit these extremes, the market could push temporarily, but generally the market's going to be topping soon once we get this. It could take a few weeks though, so the market's still holding up nicely. We'll have to see how things go. For Netflix, we actually had some good news that came out for the markets. Netflix added 13.1 million subscribers. It topped revenue estimates as the membership push gained steam. And on top of this, the earnings was $2.11 per share versus $2.22 expected. The revenue was 8.83 billion, which is above expectations at 8.72 billion, and the total memberships were 261 million versus 256 expected. So that's above expectations, not bad from Netflix. But what really helped this thing push was the fact that they made a very, very strong guidance announcement. Guidance was very strong because they projected earnings per share of $4.49 for the fiscal first quarter of 2024, higher than the $4.10 Wall Street had expected. So with strong guidance, good earnings, Netflix has run quite nicely. Tesla earnings preview is also coming out. What's important about this is we're going to be watching to see how Tesla's numbers look. We're going to be looking at their projection for the year. What is Tesla going to be giving us? Are they going to do a very, very big amount of growth for their sales and deliveries? Is it going to be very close to what Wall Street is expecting? And how are the operating costs and margins looking? That's going to be very, very important for Tesla. So make sure you watch that very carefully. There are going to be big announcements involving AI and robotics. So if Elon Musk does say things, this could actually hype up investors. That's why you don't want to be a perma bear or perma bull going into earnings. You just want to be open-minded to anything because sometimes the most unexpected things could happen. A lot of people are saying Tesla's going to crash, Tesla's this and that. Are they right? Maybe. But at the same time, with all this fear coming out and all this negative news, you want to be careful. As far as the volume goes, we had 106 million, a little bit above average, and the short volume relative to prices going down. So we're actually seeing a little bit less shorting on Tesla. On top of this, Barclays has given Tesla an equal weight rating, saying it's going to perform equally with the markets. Price price ratio is dropping because Tesla is looking relatively weak, unfortunately, still. But when it comes to seasonality, Wednesdays are historically green days about 48% of the time. Now, there's a good chance we might see some last minute FOMO buyers coming in, especially because we're approaching earnings. So we'll see how this goes for Tesla. We'll be watching that very carefully. expect some volatility at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then 2 p.m. And also 3 p.m. That's when we tend to see more volatility. The financial estimates are still strong, so we'll watch and see how it goes. Besides that, things are not that horrible for Tesla. It has been basically dropping quite a bit and looking relatively weak compared to the market. But what's good about Tesla is the fact that it's trying to base at 207 to 2, this 207 range basically. So if we're bullish, you want to see this thing, especially for tomorrow, try to get above 212, and then we're going to basically end up, in my opinion, back testing. Let me just show you what the 4-hour 20 EMA. This is around this 212 area, and that's going to be our resistance. So watch that very carefully. We'll see how Tesla reacts to that. That's going to be our next resistance, 212 at the 20 EMA. If we break above that, 216 is our next target, 217, then 220. But it could reject off 260 and actually rejected off there today. So be very careful around that level. For support, watch 207. If we lose that, we're going to be looking at 205, 202, and then 200. There's going to be a bigger drop of 205 breaks, so be very careful. How is Tesla looking? It's looking like it's trying to base. We might just get a consolidation day tomorrow. So it's trying to base here and trying to like push up. So there's a very good chance that when we open tomorrow morning, Tesla's going to pop a little bit, come back down, and just trade sideways and close maybe slightly in the green because of some last minute FOMO buyers. And then we'll have to see how Tesla does after that. But then don't forget, earnings is going to be causing the bigger move. Tomorrow is not as significant. It has more to do with aftermarket close. By tomorrow, I meant intraday price action. Tomorrow is not as significant. What's more significant is going to be Tesla's earnings. If Tesla, gets a big run to the upside, we could be pushing back to the 230s. If we get a big rug pull, Tesla could be coming back down to about 200, if not the 190s to 180s. So be very careful with that. How about SPY? How is SPY looking in my opinion? Looking at the chart, let me just double check something. This is looking bullish. We're actually trying to break this high. We're pushing in the after hours thanks to Nflx. So watch 486 as key resistance. If we break that, our next target is 487.5. If we're bearish, you want to break 485, then eventually come down to 483 to 482.75. If we lose that support, we're going to turn bearish. How is this chart looking? It looks bullish. We're breaking the highs. It's trying to get some good volume. Nflx is helping the market bounce, and Tesla may contribute as well. It's going to be a big day for SPY as well because Tesla will affect it. This chart looks bullish, however, so it might attempt to push higher. What about for the QQQ? If we're bullish, you're going to be looking for a push to 425. For bearish, watch 424. If that fails, just 422.5, 421, and then 420. If we're going to get a push because it's looking kind of bullish, I think we're going to see a test of 425 tomorrow. If we break that, we're going to be looking for some more potential upside. So there is still potential for the QQQ, but Tesla's earnings is going to have a big effect on it. Nflx is helping this push up, so there's a good chance 425 will get tested tomorrow. And watch and see if we could break that. There's a good chance it might attempt to do so. For Nvda, this is also pushing thanks to Nflx is actually breaking above 600. If we're bullish, you want to hold above 600 and eventually push up to 605 and 610. If we're bearish, you want to see this thing basically lose 595. If that fails us, 592 is coming, followed by 587. Nvidia is looking bullish. It's actually breaking above 600 in the after hours. Tech is starting to push thanks to Nflx. Look for a nice push and a gap up tomorrow. Might try to get back into the low 600, 605 plus is a real possibility. On top of that, I just want to mention that Aapl is also holding up quite nicely. If we're bearish on Aapl, you want to see it come down to about 193.5, and if that fails us, 192.5 is next. If that fails, we have a gap to fill in the lower 190s. If we're bullish, you want to see this thing basically break 195 to 195.7. If we break that resistance, our next target is going to be 197, and eventually it could get very close to 200. Apple's looking a little bit more bullish now. It actually has not rejected yet. I was talking about how we had to watch this yesterday. So far it's holding up quite nicely. So that does favor the upside for now. For a few more tickers, SoFi is barely holding the 20 EMA, might retrace towards 7.5, then bounce because it's looking a little bearish, and then try to push back up towards $8. For the IWM, it might backtest 194.4, then bounce and start pushing back up towards 197. So look for a little retracement and a bounce on the IWM. Still holding up nicely, in my opinion. For Microsoft, it's looking kind of bullish. We got a nice bounce today. 400 is being tested again. I think 401 is going to be tested. If we break that, it could be pushing for 405 plus. For AMD, watch resistance at 170. If we break that, our next target is 175. This chart is trying to bounce. If we hold the 20 EMA, we're good. If we lose the 20 EMA at 166, expect a bigger drop towards 164, then eventually 160. But if anything, it looks kind of bullish, so we might see a little bounce. There's a very good chance that could end up panning out. For Netflix, we look a little bearish. It's not Netflix, sorry, not Netflix, the VIX. Excuse me, guys, it's kind of funny. The VIX is looking very weak. There's no sign of it bouncing, so this favors the bulls a bit more for the markets. We're going to likely see this thing test 12.35. The market may push up higher thanks to that. The dollar index attempted to bounce, but now it's barely holding the 5 EMA. If 103.5 breaks, watch it come down to 103.3. If it holds that, it might just chop around. So it's very indecisive right now. Coinbase is very flat. It's testing the 20 EMA's resistance. Watch 126. We might chop around that. If we break that, look for a bigger push. Otherwise, we're kind of stuck for now. For Google, this is looking bullish. Watch for 150 and might test 150 if that breaks. 152 is our next target. There is still potential for upside on Google. For Amazon, watch support at 155. If we lose that, we're coming down to 153.5. Watch resistance at 157.25. If we break that, 160 is next. I think that Amazon's going for 160. It looks a little bullish right now thanks to the other tickers and also tech pushing. Meta, if this is bullish, you want to see this thing basically break out towards 390. I think it's going to test that, but we'll have to see if it breaks. If we break that, 395 is coming, then eventually 400. If we're bearish, you want to see it lose 385. If we lose that, 381 is coming. In my opinion, the chart still looks bullish, so watch it very carefully. With that being said, guys, I went over the majority of tickers. Tesla's holding up nicely. I'm actually using a different PC right now, so if the setup looks kind of different, you're probably noticing why. But I just want the best for everyone, so take care, get ready for Tesla's earnings, remain calm, cool, and collected, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day. Tesla and the market to the moon because the long term is still very bright, and peace out.